Your body sends warning signals up to 30 days, sometimes even longer before a major heart attack. It whispers, then it speaks, and then it shouts. But here's a truly shocking fact. Studies have found that as many as 90% of heart attack survivors say they recognize symptoms in the weeks leading up to it, but they miss their meaning. They dismiss them, explain them away, or simply didn't connect the dots. Don't let that happen to you. Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me today, because what we're about to discuss could be one of the most important conversations you ever have about your health. As we get older, it's easy to chalk up new aches, pains, or feelings of fatigue to just getting older. We tell ourselves, oh, I just slept funny, or I must have overdone it in the garden yesterday. We normalize feeling less than our best. But what if those subtle changes aren't just random signs of aging? What if they are a carefully laid out sequence of clues? Remarkable research, including studies published in prestigious journals like Circulation, has shown that the body often gives us a breadcrumb trail of warnings in the month leading up to a major cardiac event. It's like an early warning system that nature built right into us. The problem is, no one ever gave us the instruction manual. Today we're going to change that. We are going to walk through that timeline from 4 weeks out all the way down to the final 24 hours so you can learn to recognize the signals for what they are: a chance to act early, a chance to rewrite your story. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. Because growing older doesn't mean giving up, it means using smarter strategies to protect the life you've worked so hard to build. Before we dive into that timeline, if you believe that staying healthy, active, and independent for as long as possible is your number one priority, I'd be honored if you consider subscribing to our channel and clicking that little bell for notifications. We share the kind of in-depth health wisdom that can make a real difference in your golden years. And I'm always so curious to know who I'm talking with today. Are you watching from the United States, maybe Canada, the UK, Australia, or somewhere else in the world? Go ahead and drop a comment below to let me know where you're joining us from. It's wonderful to see how far our community of health-conscious seniors reaches. All right, let's begin our journey. Let's decode your body's language starting 1 month out, 4 weeks before the nightly nuisance. The very first and often the most overlooked sign can appear about a month before a heart attack. And it happens when you're not doing anything at all. It happens while you sleep. I'm talking about new or worsening trouble sleeping. Now I know what you might be thinking. Who doesn't have trouble sleeping over 60? It's true our sleep patterns change. But this is different. This isn't just about taking a little longer to drift off. This is a distinct change in your nighttime experience. It could be waking up frequently throughout the night for no apparent reason. It could be a sudden, profound feeling of exhaustion in the morning, even after you thought you got a full 8 hours. You feel unrested, as if you've run a marathon in your dreams. So why does this happen? Why would your heart's health affect your sleep? It's a fascinating and critical connection. When your heart muscle begins to struggle, it doesn't pump blood as efficiently as it should. Think of it like a plumbing system in your house that's losing pressure. This inefficiency can lead to a few specific problems at night. One is a condition called orthopnea. It's a medical term for shortness of breath that happens specifically when you're lying flat. When you lie down, fluid that might have been pooling in your legs during the day, thanks to gravity, gets redistributed. If your heart can't handle that fluid load effectively, some of it can back up into your lungs. It's not a lot, not enough to make you feel like you're drowning, but just enough to make breathing a little more difficult. Have you found yourself subconsciously propping your head up with more and more pillows just to feel comfortable? You might start with one, then a few months later, you need two, and now you can't imagine sleeping without a wedge or a tall stack of 3. You might not even realize you're doing it, but your body is instinctively trying to keep your head and chest elevated to make breathing easier. That's your body compensating for a struggling heart. Another nighttime issue is the connection to sleep apnea. People with untreated obstructive sleep apnea are at a much higher risk for heart problems. But it can also work in reverse, A failing heart can worsen fluid retention in the tissues of your neck and throat, making airway collapse during sleep more likely. You might jolt awake with a gasp, or your partner might tell you that you've started snoring loudly, or stopping breathing for a few seconds at a time. This is incredibly stressful for your heart. Each time you stop breathing, your oxygen levels plummet, and your body releases a surge of stress hormones, like adrenaline, to wake you up. Imagine your heart getting hit with a jolt of adrenaline dozens of times a night. It's exhausting for an already strained muscle. Finally, there's a simple element of anxiety. Your body knows on a deep primal level when something is wrong. A struggling heart can trigger the nervous system to be on high alert, releasing cortisol and other stress hormones at unusual times like the middle of the night. This can lead to that awful experience of waking up at 3 a.m. with your mind racing and a vague sense of unease you can't quite name. So if you've noticed a new and persistent pattern of waking up tired, needing more pillows to breathe, or feeling anxious in the middle of the night, please don't just dismiss it. It's not just a bad week of sleep. It could be the earliest, gentlest whisper from your heart asking for attention. Mention this specific change to your doctor. Tell them, my sleep has changed recently, and here's how. It's a crucial first clue, 3 weeks before the mental fog. Now let's move 1 week closer to about 3 weeks before a potential event. The warning signal here moves from your bedroom to your brain. This is the onset of unusual difficulty, concentrating, persistent forgetfulness, or a general feeling of being foggy. Again, this is another one that's so easy to write off. We've all had those senior moments. We misplace our keys, we forget why we walked into the kitchen, we lose our train of thought in the middle of a story. It happens. But what we're talking about here is a noticeable increase in these moments. It feels different. It's more persistent. It's a mental fatigue that doesn't go away even with a cup of coffee. You might find yourself struggling to follow a conversation, having trouble making decisions, or feeling unusually irritable because your brain just feels slow, like it's moving through molasses. What in the world does this have to do with your heart? Everything. Your brain, despite being only about 2% of your body weight, is an energy-guzzling superstar. It consumes a whopping 20% of your body's oxygen and blood flow. It is exquisitely sensitive to any dip in its fuel supply. When your heart is beginning to fail, or a major artery is becoming significantly blocked, the volume and pressure of blood being pumped out with each beat can decrease. Imagine the blood vessels that feed your brain are like intricate irrigation channels for a high-maintenance garden. If the main water pump weakens the channels at the furthest ends of the garden, the ones responsible for the most delicate flowers don't get the water they need. In your body, the parts of your brain responsible for higher-level executive functions, like memory, recall, focus, and quick thinking, are those delicate flowers. When they aren't getting a steady, robust supply of oxygen-rich blood, their performance suffers. It's a subtle form of oxygen deprivation. You're not going to pass out, but your cognitive sharpness will dull. Think about it this way. Have you ever been reading a book and you realize you've read the same page 3 times and nothing has sunk in? Or you're trying to balance your checkbook, a task you've done 1,000 times, and it suddenly feels overwhelmingly complex? Or perhaps a loved one has pointed it out, saying something like, "You seem a little distant lately. Is everything okay?" This brain fog is a direct result of a compromised circulatory system. Your heart is working overtime, but it's not meeting the demands of the most demanding organ in your body. It's a critical, yet often misinterpreted clue. In women especially, unexplained fatigue and mental fogginess can be prominent early warnings. They might think they are depressed or just overwhelmed when in fact it's their heart-brain connection sending out an SOS. The takeaway here is to pay attention to changes from your baseline. If you've always been a bit forgetful, that's one thing. But if you were always sharp as a tack and now you're struggling to keep up, that's a red flag. If this mental fog is new, if it's persistent, and especially if it's accompanied by that nighttime trouble we just discussed, it's building a case. It's another piece of the puzzle. It's time to talk to your doctor, not about your memory, but about your heart. 2 weeks before the digestive disturbance. All right, we're halfway through our timeline, arriving at 2 weeks before a potential heart attack. The warning signs now often move down into your gut. We're talking about a sudden loss of appetite, feelings of mild but persistent nausea, or a sense of feeling full almost immediately after starting a meal. This one seems completely unrelated, doesn't it? Heartburn, indigestion, a nervous stomach. We have a million explanations for these things. We blame it on something we ate, a stomach bug, or just stress. But it can be a surprisingly common and insidious sign of advancing heart trouble. Here's the science behind it, and it's actually a brilliant, if troubling, example of your body's survival instincts. When your heart is struggling to pump, your body enters a state of conservation. It has to make tough decisions about where to send its limited supply of oxygenated blood. The brain is priority number one. The heart muscle itself is priority number two. The other major organs like the kidneys and lungs are right behind. And the digestive system in a crisis, it's considered less essential. So your body starts to divert blood flow away from your stomach and intestines to support the vital organs. This process is called blood shunting. With less blood flow, your entire digestive process slows down. Food sits in your stomach for longer, which can lead to that uncomfortable feeling of being full after just a few bites. It can also trigger a low-grade, constant nausea. You don't feel like you're going to be sick, you just feel off, unsettled. Your favorite foods suddenly seem unappealing. For many people, especially women, these gastrointestinal symptoms can be the only signs they experience in the weeks prior. Think of a woman named Carol, 68 years old. She starts feeling a bit queasy every afternoon. She loses her taste for her morning coffee. At dinner, she can only manage half of what she normally eats before feeling bloated and uncomfortable. She tries antacids, she tries ginger tea, she assumes it's just a lingering bug. She would never in a million years connect this feeling in her stomach to the health of her heart. Yet it's a classic presentation. The blood supply to the abdomen is complex, and sometimes the pain or discomfort from a struggling heart can be referred to that area. The network of nerves around your heart and your esophagus are closely linked, which is why indigestion is so often confused with heart pain and vice versa. You might experience what feels like simple heartburn or a dull ache in your upper abdomen. So if you suddenly lose your appetite for more than a day or two, if you're experiencing a new and unexplained nausea or indigestion that doesn't go away, and if this is happening in concert with the poor sleep and brain fog we've discussed, the picture is becoming clearer and more urgent. Your body isn't just whispering anymore. It's starting to speak in a firm voice. Listen to it. Don't just keep treating the symptom in your stomach. Ask your doctor to investigate the cause in your chest. I hope you're finding this timeline helpful and not too alarming. The goal here is knowledge, and it's clear you're committed to that just by watching. If these insights are clicking for you, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. It's a small gesture, but it truly helps our channel reach and educate more seniors just like you. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time. We're about to get into the most critical phases of the timeline. 1 week before, the classic clues get louder. We have now arrived at the critical window 1 week before a potential heart attack. At this stage, the signals often become more recognizable, more classic, but they can still be confusingly brief and intermittent. This is when you might start to experience brief chest pain, noticeable shortness of breath during light activity, or unexplained cold sweats. Your body is no longer being subtle. It's sending clear physical warnings that something is wrong with the central pump. Let's break these down. First, the chest pain. The medical term for this is angina, and it's crucial to understand what it is. Angina is not a heart attack itself. It is a protest sign from your heart muscle. It's the heart saying, I am not getting enough oxygen to do the work you're asking me to do. This is happening because one or more of the coronary arteries that feed your heart are likely more than 70% blocked with plaque. Now here's the tricky part. This pain doesn't always feel like a dramatic movie-style clutching of the chest. It can be much more subtle. It might feel like pressure, like an elephant is sitting on your chest. It could feel like squeezing, as if a belt is being tightened around you. It might even manifest as a feeling of fullness or a bad case of heartburn that you can't get rid of. It might not even be in the center of your chest. It can radiate to your shoulders, especially the left, your arms, your neck, your jaw, or your back, and it's often intermittent. It might appear when you exert yourself, say, while carrying groceries in from the car, or walking up a hill, and then it subsides when you rest. This is called stable angina. Because it goes away, it's incredibly easy to dismiss. Oh, I just pulled a muscle. I must have slept on it wrong. But that pattern pain with exertion relief with rest is the absolute textbook definition of a heart crying out for more blood. Next is shortness of breath, what doctors call dyspnea. In the week leading up to an event, this becomes much more pronounced. Remember that fluid backup we talked about with sleep. Now, it doesn't take lying down for it to become a problem. The heart's pumping is now weak enough that even minimal activity like walking from the living room to the kitchen or getting dressed in the morning can leave you feeling winded. You find yourself pausing to catch your breath after doing something that was effortless just a month ago. This is a sign of developing congestive heart failure, where the heart simply cannot keep up with the body's demands, causing fluid to congest the lungs. Finally, let's talk about unexplained cold sweats. This is a very primal response. When your heart is under severe stress, it triggers your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. Your body thinks it's in mortal danger, even if you're just sitting in a chair reading the paper. It releases adrenaline, which causes you to break out in a cold, clammy sweat, even if the room isn't hot. It's the same kind of sweat you'd get if you were terrified. If you wake up and your sheets are damp, or you suddenly feel sweaty and chilled for no reason, that is a significant red flag. Your nervous system is reacting to a crisis inside your chest. If you experience any of these three signs, chest pressure that comes and goes, getting breathless from minor tasks, or breaking into a cold sweat for no reason, the time for subtle observation is over. This is your body's 1-week warning. You must call your doctor's office or a nurse line immediately. Describe your symptoms clearly. Say the magic words, "I am having chest pressure and shortness of breath." Do not downplay it. This is your chance to get ahead of the crisis, 24 to 48 hours before the final urgent warning. We have reached the most critical point in our timeline, the final 24 to 48 hours. The whispers and talk have now escalated to a shout. The symptoms at this stage are often sudden, severe, and cannot be ignored. If you or a loved one experience these, you are in an active medical emergency. The primary signs in this window are often a sudden, overwhelming feeling of anxiety or a sense of impending doom, a very rapid or irregular heartbeat, and severe dizziness or lightheadedness, especially when you try to stand up. Let's start with that feeling of anxiety. This is not just feeling worried or stressed. This is a profound, gut-wrenching sense that something is terribly wrong. Survivors often describe it as the worst anxiety of their entire lives. It's a physiological response, not just an emotional one. Your body is being flooded with catecholamines, powerful stress hormones, because it is on the verge of a catastrophic failure. Your brain is reacting to the signals of cellular distress coming from your dying heart muscle. It's a primal life or death alarm bell. If you are suddenly gripped by a terror you cannot explain, listen to it. Next, the heartbeat. You may experience what are called palpitations. This can feel like your heart is racing, pounding, fluttering like a trapped bird, or skipping beats. This is happening because as a part of the heart muscle is deprived of oxygen, the heart's electrical system can become unstable and chaotic. The regular rhythmic beat is disrupted, leading to arrhythmias that can be dangerous in themselves. The heart is struggling to maintain its rhythm in the face of a crisis. Finally, dizziness and lightheadedness. In these final hours, the heart's ability to pump blood effectively is severely compromised. This can cause a dramatic drop in your blood pressure. When you try to stand up, your already low blood pressure can fall even further, robbing your brain of the oxygen it needs. This causes you to feel intensely dizzy, like the room is spinning, or like you're about to faint. These three symptoms, sudden severe anxiety, a chaotic heartbeat, and dizziness upon standing, are the classic triad of an imminent heart attack. They may or may not be accompanied by the crushing chest pain that everyone expects. Sometimes, particularly in women or those with diabetes, these signs can occur on their own. Let me be perfectly clear. If you experience these symptoms, this is not the time to wait and see. This is not the time to call your doctor's office for an appointment next week. This is not the time to ask your neighbor to drive you to the hospital. This is the time to call 911 immediately. You must treat this as the life-threatening emergency it is. Chew an aspirin if you have one and are not allergic, as this can help break up the blood clot that is likely causing the attack. But the most important thing is to get professional medical help on its way as fast as possible. Every single minute that passes, more heart muscle is dying. Time is muscle. The paramedics can begin life-saving treatment the moment they arrive. Do not hesitate. Do not feel like you are being a bother. You are saving your own life. Conclusion: your health is your greatest treasure. So let's take a deep breath together and recap this journey we've been on. 4 weeks out, it might start with trouble sleeping, a new need for more pillows, a feeling of being unrested. 3 weeks out, a mental fog can set in trouble, concentrating, feeling forgetful and slow. 2 weeks out, your digestive system might send a signal, a loss of appetite, or persistent nausea. 1 week out, the classic clues get louder, but can still be fleeting: brief chest pressure, shortness of breath, with simple tasks and cold sweats. And in those final 24 to 48 hours, the alarm bells ring loud and clear, with sudden anxiety, a racing heart, and dizziness. Remembering this timeline, this sequence of events, is one of the most powerful tools you can have. It turns vague, confusing symptoms into a clear, actionable roadmap. It transforms fear of the unknown into the power of knowledge. Now that you know what to look for, you can never unknow it. You are now equipped to listen to your body in a whole new way. It can feel a little unsettling to learn all this, I know. It might even make you worry about every little twinge. But that's not the goal. The goal is awareness, not anxiety. It's about recognizing patterns and changes from your normal. Your body is your oldest and most faithful friend. It's been with you your whole life. When it tries to tell you something this important, it deserves to be heard. Growing older is inevitable, but growing weaker, sicker, and losing your independence is not. You have more control than you think. Every small step you take, every symptom you question, every conversation you have with your doctor is an act of defiance against illness. It's you taking charge of your health one day at a time. Now, I would be so grateful to hear from you. Which of these warning signs surprised you the most? Is there one that you may have experienced and dismissed in the past? Please share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Your story could be the very thing that helps someone else in our community recognize a sign in themselves. I do my best to read through the comments because we all learn so much from each other. If this video has helped you today, please hit that like button. It truly means the world to me, and it helps this vital information reach more people who need to hear it. And finally, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Our mission here is to provide you with the science-backed practical wisdom you need to thrive in your golden years. Your health is worth fighting for, and we are here to fight alongside you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Stay strong, stay aware, and remember to listen to your body. It's the smartest doctor you'll ever have.